You're at 109 right now.
Tonight, I ventured to Beverly Hills from Inglewood. Inglewood, for those who are unaware, is a predominantly, I would say, low income. Maybe nah, maybe not low income, but it's predominantly black. It's a predominantly black incorporated city in Los Angeles County. So it's where all the blacks live, right? A majority of us. There are other areas, and for where I grew up or lived for a number of years, Baldwin Hills, I would consider that more, upper middle class. That's why I was I said Inglewood is low income. But it's not, because you can find some rich people, who live in Inglewood. You can find communities with beautiful homes, nice lawns, and all of that. So I don't know what I'm talking about basically. Anywho, I went from the black community to the predominantly Jewish community, maybe Iranian community. I don't know. I can't call it. But the point of of me mentioning this is to describe, where I was. So I came from Inglewood and I went to Beverly Hills. On the way to Beverly Hills, I stopped at a bookstore that I had seen plenty of times. It's on La Cienega, and so I was about to. No, excuse me. The bookstore was about to close. So I decided, man, let me just stop on in there. They had 40 minutes until closing, so it was good timing. And the the owner, proprietor of the business was very nice, welcoming. If I had to guess, I'd say he was a Jewish man. And so he welcomed me and he said, look around, whatever. The thing about the bookstore is that it's cluttered. I mean, there are books everywhere. It's difficult to walk, difficult to move, I mean, if you're a larger person, whether you're overweight or just tall and wide, you might have a difficult time, moving around that space. Plenty of books, and it's just yes, it's very very crowded in there. But I guess it's really well organized, because for the sections that are there, you can find exactly what is advertised. So it's organized, even though it may seem very cluttered. Um, so in true coincidental fashion, coincidences, something happened. So I went in there, not knowing what I was looking for, but just books in general. I was just curious to be there, right? And I guess I have to tell this story first. It pertains to something that happened probably a couple years ago now. When I was at Dorsey High School one day, it was related to a hummingbird. And so I was at Dorsey High School. I was walking. I guess I was entering a building, and there was a hummingbird flying inside of the building, and the hummingbird was trying to exit, trying to leave out the door, and it slammed into the window and knocked itself out and fell to the ground. And there were students around, and so that could have been a point of commotion and pandemonium. Oh, look at that, scary! Look at run! This type of thing. So I had to protect the hummingbird. So I rushed over and I picked it up and I held it gently in my hand. And I remembered somehow that it just needed some sweet water, get its bearings. If it's still alive, it was just exhausted, and that's all that it really needed. So anywho, I picked the hummingbird up. Another student saw me pick it up, and the student walked with me with the bird. And so I told the student, "Hey, we need some water. Go ask someone for some water and some sugar, whatever." And the student got it and came back, and we had the screw top from the bottle of water, plastic bottle of water, and we mixed the sugar and the water, and with the hummingbird in my hand, we proceeded to try to feed it. It was dazed. It was it was knocked out. It was confused, dazed and confused. Like, hey, what's going on? What's happening to me? And put the water near its beak, and then it started licking it. You know, and then next thing you know, we got a little bit of energy, and when it was ready to pick up and carry on, then we released him, outdoors, and he took off. And that was a beautiful experience to have helped, helped a natural being, just like get back on its way. So that was dope, and that's what happened probably a couple of years ago now. All right, so back to the story of today. When I was at this bookstore, I'm in the bookstore looking around, looking for books and whatever, and completely unrelated to you know what happened 2 years ago. There I was in the bookstore today, but there was another hummingbird, and I guess the hummingbird was trying to escape, saw a window, hit the window, knocked itself out. So the hummingbird was on the ground inside of the bookstore. I didn't notice this. I was looking for books, but the owner did, and another customer did, a patron. So they noticed the hummingbird on the ground, and so there was some commotion. Oh my gosh, gotta help it, gotta help it. What's happening? Oh, and I look, and then I'm like, what the heck is going on over there? And I noticed that they're picking up a hummingbird, and then I remember, oh wow, they're trying to help the hummingbird. I remember how I was trying to help the hummingbird a couple years ago, or whatever. I had my little connection, so I knew what they were doing. So I just went back to looking for books because I figured, all right, if they're good people, they're gonna try to help the hummingbird, and then set it on its way. And they were good people. They same thing, same situation. They searched for some water, put some sugar in it, a little bit, um, and yeah, and so it worked out. Now I didn't pay attention to what they were doing. I noticed the hummingbird when they were picking it up, and then I went back to looking for books. So I didn't pay any attention to what was going on other than, okay, I saw the hummingbird, I saw what the commotion was, but I was back to looking around. So after looking around, and then I came to the front of the store with the books that I had chosen to purchase. The owner, who was going to ring me up as cashier or whatever, decided that he would tell me the story. He said, "Hey, this is what happened. Did you?" He, I guess he asked me, "Were you paying attention to what happened, the commotion?" I was like, "No, not really." He's like, "Well, let me tell you. So the hummingbird crashed and knocked itself out or whatever." And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, okay, yeah, I saw that part." He said, "Well, as we were as he was picking up the hummingbird or whatever, then one of the customers, another patron in the store, said, "Oh, that's interesting. I have a hummingbird tattoo on my arm." And then, so that was a coincidence right there. The woman, one of the patrons who was tending to the hummingbird, had a hummingbird tattoo on her arm. Interesting, right? Well, as they're talking, as they're trying to revive this hummingbird, and as the woman, mentions this, there's another customer on another aisle of this very cluttered bookstore, another woman who says, "Hey, did you say you had a hummingbird tattoo on your arm?" She's like, "Yeah." And that woman said, "Oh, well, I have a hummingbird tattoo on my arm too." So that was like a bizarre, couple of coincidences that was just like, whoa, everyone, these two ladies have hummingbird tattoos on their arms. And they're trying, and the guys, and all of the attention at this moment is on the hummingbirds. Well, there was a third woman, a third patron at the uh at the bookstore, and so she was like, wait a minute, you have a hummingbird tattoo and you have a hummingbird tattoo on your arm? And they're like, yeah, we do. And the third lady was like, well, gosh, golly gee, I have a hummingbird tattoo on my arm too. And it was just like, huh, what? So Three women at the bookstore had hummingbird tattoos on their arms. That's the coincidence. That's the story. There it is. I was there. I remember my story from a couple years ago, but today was a doozy of a story related to hummingbirds. So there it is. So I'm Larry Wiggs, and this is the IC 109 podcast. And usually, what I do is I talk about coincidences. So to begin today's podcast, I started with the story about coincidences. You know where you are?
You're at 109 right now.
So let's talk about the books that I purchased from this bookstore. All right. So as I was looking around, I first spotted. Well, you know what? All right. So the guy, the owner is, I presume he's Jewish, right? Anywho, one of the first books that, as upon entering the store, one of the first books that I noticed is a book that said something like Black Power, something and the Jews. It was like Black Power and the Jews, something. And so I guess it was a title similar to the black relationship, the secret relationship between blacks and Jews. That book, something like that. I'm searching on Black Power. Oh yeah, here it is. I found the title. Okay, it's the title of the book is Black Power, Jewish Politics: Reinventing the Alliance in the 1960s. That was the book. Okay, so I saw that book title and I thought, hey, that's pretty cool. That's a pretty interesting book right there because I'm a black man entering a Jewish bookstore, basically. You know, I'm like, hey, and that book speaks to me immediately. It was right there near the entrance. You know, so anyway, I saw that, and I thought maybe I should pick that one up, but I just let that one go. I was like, nah, that's not. Let's not be too obvious. Like, oh look, I'm a black man in a Jewish place. Let's get the Black Power Jewish Politics book. Let's get that. Nah, I was just like, all right, that's pretty interesting. Of a coincidence, right? It's kind of a book. Speaking of coincidence, I was like, nah, I'll leave that there. So as I walk through, I find that I see this book entitled, and I'm holding the book in my hands right now, entitled "Reading Basquiat." And I looked and I was like, wait, that's Basquiat right there. I'm like, that's a title I don't have in my library. And of course, it's my favorite artist, Jean Michel Basquiat. So I'm like, I would certainly take that and run with it, you dig? And so I was like, yep, I'm gonna grab that one. So I grabbed this one. And the one thing about reading Basquiat, the title and what this book is to me is it would hopefully, I hope that in reading it, I will, yeah, I'll learn how to read his art. I'll learn how to read his art. Oh, yeah, so the author, see, I didn't even realize who the author, I didn't even see the author's, what is this, dust cover. I didn't even see the author's, thingamajig here. It's a black woman, Jordana Moore Sages, assistant professor of contemporary art and the visual studies program at California College of the Arts. I didn't even know. I had no idea. Yeah, so anyhow, let's see, when was this book printed, copywritten? Man, oh man, oh man. 2014. So she wrote this, well, it was printed 11 years ago. Basquiat. Oh, this is really good stuff because it's from a black woman's perspective about Basquiat. Yeah, I'm with this. I thought it was a white guy doing this, and so she's got all of the proper Basquiat, um, you know, points. She's done her research. I can tell. Oh yeah, man, this is really beautiful. I can't wait to get into this one. So anyway, I saw the cover and I saw Basquiat's image, and I was like, well, I want that book right there. I have never seen this book, but yeah, I'm willing to buy this one because Basquiat is on the cover. So I'm holding that one in my hands. So that's good. Then I looked around. I was confronted with the clutter and everything. And so I decided, okay, I'm looking around. Let me see, where should I move next in this cluttered bookstore. And I just happened to see an area. It was just like I just I instinctively went in that direction, not even reading the signs really. And when I got to that section and I looked, then it was the civil rights black section, and I was like, "Oh, well, that's exactly where I need to be." So I looked around, and then I found this next book, and it's one of those images of America books that they take snapshots, or they show you, or they give you the history of certain places in America in a very concise you know fashion. And yeah, I believe I have one for, I think, Compton, California. I got that one from my grandmother. And then this one right here is the Pullman Porters and West Oakland. And Pullman Porters and West Oakland, or just Oakland in general, is important to the black, experience in America. So I'm like, I'm with it. Let me get that book. So I grabbed that book and I was like, okay, I've got two books now. So I made my way around the bookstore, and then I came across a familiar title and a familiar author's name. One whom I've never read, however, but the title I knew, right? But this was in a different section, but this was another black. This was a black person, a black author. So basically when I went into this bookstore today, I got it. I mean, it is, after all, Black History Month. I got the black books that resonated with me, right? So, um the book this next book that I got is, of course, Cotton Comes to Harlem by Chester Himes. All right. So I've never read this book. It's a pretty short book. You could read it in a day, you know. Um, and in fact, I read, what, 10 pages already. I read up until the second chapter. Just tonight when I went to where did I go? I was still in Beverly Hills. I went to Beverly Hills and I got some ice cream from Ben and Jerry's ice cream, some vanilla ice cream. I mean, it's been a junk day for real. I had the Ben and Jerry's ice cream, and then I went across the street to Mulberry Pizza, where I got two slices of pepperoni and mushroom pizza. So there's nothing healthy about what I consumed, you know. Um, Maybe the healthiest thing I'll be consuming is the literature that I purchased tonight. And yeah, when I was at Ben and Jerry's eating my ice cream, I read the first chapter of Cotton Comes to Harlem by Chester Himes. And my impression of it was, I didn't know that this this story was so action packed. Like, they're talking about machine guns, cop chases, and you know, it's pretty gory as well. Bullets flying, brain matter, shooting everywhere. It's like spilling blood, and I'm like, whoa, this is intense for a book. So I didn't know what it was about. But in the first chapter, I'm like, wow, man, this is some wild this is a wild adventure. Now when I did purchase all of these books, the owner, his name is Tony, told me that Cotton Comes to Harlem, they had a movie made. There was a movie made by Cotton for this book. And I guess that's how come I even know the title of the book, because I remember the movie title. So when on my way home, I pulled up the movie's trailer on YouTube and I watched it, and then there it was, Cotton Comes to Harlem, starring Godfrey Cambridge. He's the only actor I remember in it. But yeah, Godfrey Cambridge was in it, and so it was like, and then for the trailer to have all of the violence, the gunfights, and all of that in it, it was like, oh, okay, well, yeah, that makes sense, because the first chapter I read was just gun violence everywhere. Like, wow. So tonight is Sunday, February 16th, and I'm going to get into. I mean, I guess I have a few things to get into. Read a little bit of Basquiat, check out the Pullman Porter's history in West Oakland. Maybe read another chapter of Chester Himes's Cotton Comes to Harlem, and I can even watch Cotton Comes to Harlem. Now, let's see. I'm going to check online and see if Cotton Comes to Harlem is on YouTube, if it's free to watch. Probably is. Cotton Comes to Harlem. Well, it says the trailer. I see there are some scenes. Hmm. It appears as if the movie is here, but it says 5 months ago. Watch Calvin Lockhart in action. Cotton Comes to Harlem. It looks as if the whole movie is online. 1 hour and 32 minutes. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. Judy Pace is in this movie too? Oh, you gotta be kidding me, man. Now, Judy Pace, I went to high school with Judy Pace's daughter, and over the last, I want to say, let's see, I came back to LA in 2019. So, over the last 6 years, at some point over the last 6 years, um, I was trying to create my own little taxi service, little black owned taxi service. And my mom and dad lived in the same, or they still live in the same community as Judy Pace. She's moved. Judy Pace has sold her home, and she's moved. But there was a time when I lent my services, I offered my services to Judy Pace and her family, and they were calling me, Larry, we're gonna use your services. Come on, take us over here, take us over there, and I would. That's exactly what I did, and yeah, so I'm surprised. I mean, but I just didn't know. But here she is, Judy Pace, and Cotton Comes to Harlem. That's what's up. So we got some cool little connections going on tonight. All right, so I'm gonna get into these. I'm gonna get into a little bit of this. Cotton Comes to Harlem. I guess I could play. Wait a minute, because as I'm watching this, I just saw Max Julian, and if he's in this, then like there's a lot of black stars in this. All right, let me just play a little. Is that Helen? Helen Martin? Yeah. Oh man, everybody is in Man, boy, oh boy, boy, oh boy, everybody's in this movie, man. Dude, this is wild. All right, I'll let you hear it. Yeah, yeah, Max Julian is in here and everything. See, let me just explain it. So as I was skimming through this YouTube movie and I saw these images, I thought that it was unlikely that Max Julian would be in this movie. Um, I just I just had a feeling like his movies were different from this type of movie, because he had played a pimp. He was in what was that? He was in the Mac. He was the star of the Mac. Yeah, and there's a scene that appears. So it looks like they're showing a scene from the Mac. So I'm like, wait a minute, why is the Mac in this YouTube video? So then I assume, or I presume that this is not Cotton Comes to Harlem, but rather a hodgepodge of black films that they're just, that they threw together. But we'll see. I'll have to watch it and I'll have to figure it out. But it looks like it's the real movie, and Max Julian seems to be in it. So is that Red Fox? That's Red Fox too. It's like everybody's in this movie. Man, this is wild. All right, y'all. Thanks for listening. This is IC 109. I'm about to get it. About to get into my evening, my Sunday evening, and watch Cotton Comes to Harlem. I'll be back with a review or with something else in the next episode. Peace and blessings from IC 109.
You're at 109 right now.